Hear that? It's the synthesizer of destiny. With COP26 drawing even closer, the PM took his net zero plan to Cabinet in a bid to win the Nats' support. And if you're wondering what that'll take, don't worry, Bridget McKenzie said the quiet part out loud.
This actual debate isn't about climate change, it is about the regions.
Absolutely.
Oh, and if you're thinking about a transition to cheap, reliable, renewable energy, don't.
Fran.
Stop it.
Fran.
Stop it.
Fran.
Stop it, please.
Fran. Any mirage of these well-paid careers that our current industry provides our people, such as mining, you're now going to be mowing lawns under solar farms.
For the Nats, the stated goal of emissions reduction kind of seems like an afterthought.
We're going to want to make sure that where we end up is a position, if it's going forward, that takes our people not backwards, that takes them forward.
The Coalition is cooking up plans for hydrogen export hubs in the fossil fuel heartlands of Gladstone, the Latrobe Valley and the Hunter, among others. Hydrogen could form a key component of a green transition, but if we generate it by burning natural gas, as the Energy Ministers suggested, that's a different story.
To get to net zero, you don't have to eliminate all your emissions, so those industries can continue to have a great future, and they absolutely will.
There are actually more jobs working in McDonald's in Australia than in coal and gas combined. The worst thing we can do is lie to communities and pretend like things aren't going to change.
The Deputy PM...
Horatio Joyce...
reckons that's hoity-toity city talk.
It is a vastly more heated issue out here in regional areas than you would ever contemplate.
But Richie, in his Climate of the Nation report, begs to differ.
The report found no major difference between regional Australians and those in the cities. 63% of Australians want to see renewables as the main source of investment, not a gas-fired recovery.
So as our last best hope of action hangs in the balance, can we really have our fossils and burn them too?
We did approach Barnaby Joyce, Bridget McKenzie and Angus Taylor. None have made themselves available. Sam Maiden has, though, and she joins us now. Sam, are they ever going to strike a deal?
I think they are. And the exciting news is that I think it's very likely that we will have a new climate change target that will swing into action about the time Scott Morrison's 80 in 2050. So, look, it's been a long time coming, but I think that they're going to get there despite the fact that they're acting like they're not.
When they actually get there, though, Sam, are we all going to be disappointed? I was so hopeful. Are we going to get to the end result and we're going to go, well, that is a waste of time?
Well, of course, the people that don't like Scott Morrison are going to be disappointed, and the people in the Nationals that think that we shouldn't have a target of, zero by 2050 will say that it's all too much. I think that there's probably a big debate about how they're going to get there. I mean, look, they're saying it's going to be technology, not taxes. But look, it's been an interesting change of view from a whole bunch of players, including the Business Council of Australia, that, of course, told us that Bill Shorten's plan was going to wreck the economy and are now arguing for an even tougher one.
Since you're confident there is going to be an agreement, do you know what's in it?
No, I don't. I mean, that is what is being thrashed out in Cabinet today. It's fairly obvious that the Nationals want a lot of money for the regions. And look, it's fair enough. They are representing a constituency that are, potentially going to be more affected by this than a whole bunch of people that would like to see something happen in climate change space right away. So, the Nationals are saying that they're going to read the fine print and probably ask for a bucket of cash as well.
All right, so 2050, sorted, done, easy. But the world is talking about 2030 really now. Is there any
Very
prospect?
soon.
Yes, that is very soon. Is there any prospect that we'll see anything on that?
I think that's a really good question, and even business now is saying that they need to know more about that for planning and for certainty. Some of the states, including New South Wales, have already come up with targets for those sort of timeframe. Given that they're having to drag some elements of the Nationals kicking and screaming to a 2050 target, I don't think they're going to be too bullish about a 2030 target, but they're going to have to explain in the midterm how they're going to get to 2050, and I think that's going to be the interesting thing about what the Prime Minister announces next week and what leaks out in the meantime.
Sam, climate change has been an important issue for voters at the last few elections, but not the most important issue. Could that be different in 4 or 6 months' time?
Well, clearly both sides of politics are trying to neutralise this debate. It has some elements hurt the Labor Party in some seats in the past, but equally, the Liberal Party's reputation as being a bit of a policy-free zone in this space has caused them damage as well, and that's why, after all, the Prime Minister is going to such trouble right now to address that.
All right, Sam, we'll leave it there. Thanks as always.
Thank you.
From expert opinions to in-depth analysis and reporting, the Project YouTube brings you the biggest stories from Australia and around the globe. Hit the subscribe button now for news delivered straight to your feed.